Step into a world of romance and mystery with Tamora Rose. Today we're wandering into one of my favorite corners of storytelling, where heroes make terrible decisions for excellent reasons. Heroines stare very intensely across candlelit ballrooms while absolutely not thinking about kissing the wrong person, and everyone involved could probably save themselves a great deal of trouble by taking a long holiday somewhere with no attractive strangers. Of course, if they did that, we'd have a very short novel and a rather disappointed readership. The stories that stay with us are rarely built on easy choices. They're built on impossible ones, where desire pulls in one direction, duty pulls in another, and the poor characters are left standing in the middle wondering whether fate accepts formal complaints. One of the greatest strengths of romance is that it asks a wonderfully inconvenient question. What happens when the person you love isn't the person you're supposed to love? That conflict immediately raises the emotional stakes, because the problem isn't whether two people have chemistry. They almost always do. The problem is everything surrounding that chemistry. Maybe there's a family expectation, a sworn oath, a dangerous secret, or a centuries-old curse that politely informs everyone involved that this relationship is an exceptionally bad idea. Suddenly, the romance isn't simply about falling in love. It's about deciding what kind of person you want to be when your heart refuses to cooperate with your carefully constructed life plans. I think that's why readers are so drawn to morally complicated romances. Perfect people making perfect choices are pleasant enough, sure, but they're not particularly memorable. Real people are gloriously untidy. They love at inconvenient times, make promises they later struggle to keep, and occasionally discover that their carefully organized moral compass has developed an alarming tendency to spin in circles whenever one especially attractive individual walks into the room. Fiction lets us explore these emotional knots safely. We can wrestle with impossible choices from the comfort of our favorite reading chair while silently judging the characters, right before realizing we'd probably make exactly the same decision ourselves. The secret to making these stories work isn't piling on drama for its own sake. Readers can spot manufactured conflict from miles away. A compelling moral dilemma grows naturally from who the characters are. If an honorable knight has spent his entire life believing that duty defines him, then falling in love with someone forbidden threatens the very foundation of his identity. Likewise, if a woman has always placed family above herself, choosing personal happiness becomes much more than a romantic decision. Every meaningful choice should cost something, because sacrifices reveal character far more effectively than speeches ever could. Historical romance gives us endless opportunities, really, for these delicious dilemmas, because history itself was full of expectations. Society had rules for everything. Who you married, how you behaved, what class you belonged to, and occasionally how many forks you were apparently expected to understand at dinner. I don't know who invented formal place settings, but I suspect they secretly enjoyed watching nervous guests panic. Against those rigid structures, love becomes wonderfully rebellious. A stolen conversation in a garden or a lingering glance across a ballroom suddenly carries enormous emotional weight, because the consequences extend far beyond embarrassment. Reputation, inheritance, and entire futures can hang on a single decision. Paranormal romance adds another fascinating layer, because now the conflict isn't only social, it's supernatural as well. Imagine falling for someone whose existence challenges everything you've ever believed about the world, or perhaps loving someone whose very nature places everyone around them in danger. Vampires, witches, shapeshifters, ghosts, immortals. They all introduce questions that ordinary romance never has to answer. Can love survive centuries of loneliness? Can trust overcome impossible secrets? Can two people build a future when destiny keeps insisting they'd be much better apart? Apparently, destiny has a flair for melodrama, but fortunately, so do romance readers. One element I especially enjoy is when neither option is completely right. or completely wrong. Duty often exists for a reason. Promises matter. Loyalty matters. Responsibility matters. At the same time, desire isn't automatically selfish simply because it's inconvenient. Sometimes following your heart requires tremendous courage, while blindly obeying expectations becomes the easier path. That's what creates true emotional tension. Readers shouldn't immediately know which choice they hope the characters will make. Ideally, we're rooting for both possibilities while quietly hoping someone invents a miraculous third option that saves everybody. Unfortunately, novels are rarely that accommodating. Consequences are another essential ingredient. If a difficult choice changes nothing, then it wasn't really difficult in the first place. Characters should carry the emotional weight of their decisions. Perhaps they gain love but lose status. Perhaps they save their family while sacrificing personal happiness. Maybe forgiveness takes years to earn. These consequences don't exist to punish characters for loving someone. They exist because meaningful choices reshape lives. Watching someone grow through guilt, regret, redemption, and hope creates a far richer emotional journey than watching them glide effortlessly towards happily ever after with barely a wrinkle in sight. Interestingly, some of the most romantic scenes in fiction contain very little romance on the surface. Two people quietly admitting fears they've hidden from everyone else can feel more intimate than pages of passionate declarations. A hesitant confession whispered beside a fireplace. Hands brushing together because neither quite knows whether they're allowed to hold on. A promise made despite overwhelming uncertainty. Those moments resonate because the emotional risk Those moments resonate because the emotional risk outweighs the physical one. The characters aren't merely revealing affection. They're revealing themselves, flaws and all, hoping the other person won't turn away once the truth finally comes to light. Perhaps that's why these stories linger long after we've finished reading them. They remind us that love isn't interesting because it's easy. It's interesting because it asks people to grow, to question themselves, and sometimes to rewrite the stories they've always believed about who they are. The happiest endings feel satisfying, not because every obstacle disappears, but because the characters earn their future through difficult choices, honest reflection, and a willingness to face some uncomfortable truths. Somewhere between duty and desire lies the person they're becoming, and that's often the most beautiful journey of all. That's it for today. I'd love to hear about your favorite romance where the characters faced an impossible moral choice, so leave a comment and let's talk about it. Until we meet again, may your days be filled with passion and just a touch of magic.